Hi there. In today's video, I'll be doing a high-level demo on how to manually program a frequency into 4 different HTs, as well as navigating some basic menu functions. The ones I'll be exploring today are the Baofeng UV5R, Yaesu FT-60, Yaesu VX-6, and the Yaesu FT-65. Previously, I did some videos on how to program each of these using the Chirp and RT System software, so if you haven't had a chance to check those out, I'll leave a link to each video in the description below. For today's demo, I'll program both a simplex frequency as well as a repeater. For the simplex frequency, I'll be using the national 2-meter calling frequency, which is 146.520 megahertz, and for the repeater I just made up a generic one, so I'll be using a frequency of 147.150 megahertz with a positive offset of 600 kilohertz and a PL tone of 123.0. And to set expectations, this is not an exhaustive list of everything you can do with each radio. It really is to just provide some high-level basics if you happen to be in the field and need to program a frequency and you don't have a computer available. And I will also provide some written documentation in the form of a blog post for the steps to programming each radio, and a link to that blog will be provided in the description below. The first radio I'll demo is the Baofeng UV5R. And I chose this one because it seems to be a fairly popular HT for those starting out in radio. I'll begin by showing the steps for programming a simplex frequency into this radio and assigning it to a channel. So I'll turn it on. And I already have a frequency saved under channel slot number 1, which is the weather channel. So I'm going to need to save this new frequency under channel slot number 2 since that's the next available. How we do that is by entering VFO mode. So there's a VFO/MR button, and if you press that, it does take you into VFO mode. And the next step will be to use this AB key, and we can use this to select between the upper and lower display, and we want to choose the upper display. So if you press that, you'll see a triangle move to the upper display to indicate that's the one that it's on, and you want the upper display so the radio will save the data. The next step is we want to use this band button to select the band that corresponds to the frequency we're entering. So since it's a 2-meter frequency, we want to select the corresponding band. So I'll press that, and the next step will be to enter the frequency we're going to save. So the 2-meter calling frequency is 146.520, and I'll enter that on the keypad. Now I'll show you how to assign this frequency to a channel slot. And you do that by pressing menu, and it's menu item 27. So press 2-7 on the keypad and press menu again. And you can use the up and down keys to choose a channel. So I will go to channel slot number 2, press menu again, and we'll exit. And we're back in VFO mode, so we want to confirm that this frequency was saved to channel slot number 2. So press the VFO/MR button again, and I can confirm that it was saved under channel slot number 2. So if I press the up arrow, it takes me to channel 1, the weather channel. If I press it again, I'm back at channel 2. Before I cover the steps on how to program a repeater in the UV5R, I wanted to provide a high-level summary of how a duplex repeater operates for those who are not familiar with how they function. And how they work is they receive on one frequency and transmit on another simultaneously by leveraging something called an offset. And when you start researching repeaters in your area and programming them into your respective radio, you'll discover there are standard offsets depending on the band of intended operation. What that means is the offset is a value in units, and an example is it can be in kilohertz or megahertz, and that is the split between the transmit and receive frequencies of the repeater. A couple of helpful resources for locating repeaters in your area are repeaterbook.com if you're looking for amateur radio repeaters, or mygmrs.com if you're looking solely for GMRS repeaters. I believe Repeater Book also does list GMRS repeaters. But when you find one in your area and are ready to program it into your radio, just pay close attention to the details. It'll list the frequency, the offset that I just mentioned, and if there is a tone assigned, it could be a DCS code or a transmit tone, and some repeaters will use no tone at all. And basically that's just a sub-audible tone that the repeater listens for. Now I'll walk through the steps on programming a repeater, and to recap, our repeater details are the frequency is 147.150 megahertz with a positive offset of 600 kilohertz and a tone of 123.0. I'll be programming the repeater as if there is not a receive tone and only a transmit tone, and I'll show you how to do that in a moment. Where I left off was I programmed a simplex frequency into channel slot 2, and I will save the repeater into channel slot 3 since that's the next available. So I need to get back into VFO mode, and I'll press the VFO/MR button. And I need to enter my repeater frequency on the keypad, and that's 147.150. Now I need to disable the receive tone, and that's menu item number 11. And how I get there is I press menu, 11 on the keypad, menu again, and I'll be using the up and down arrow keys to put the receive tone in the off position. If you have a repeater that you want which has a receive tone, you can just use the arrows to select that respective receive tone. But menu, 11, menu again, and you can see it's on 254.1, and I'll press the up arrow to select the off position, menu again to save and exit. Now I need to set the transmit tone, and that's menu item number 13, and I'm going to be looking for 123.0. So menu 13, menu again, and I'll use the up arrow until I get to 123.0. Menu again and exit to save the setting. Now I need to program the offset, and that is menu number 25, and I'll go through the same steps, but this time I'll just be selecting between a plus and minus offset. In this demo it's a positive offset, so menu 25, menu again, and you can see it's already on the plus, but if you were to press one of the keys it'll say off, negative, or positive. We'll select positive, menu again, and exit. And now I need to enter the offset value, and that is menu item number 26. So same process. Menu 26, menu again, and it's a 600 kilohertz, so 000 600. Menu again and exit. Lastly, the repeater needs to be saved, and we'll do that by going into menu item number 27 and selecting channel slot 3. And then menu again to save it and exit. I'm back into VFO mode, so if I press the VFO/MR button, I should get back into channel mode, and I should see my repeater saved into channel slot 3. And you can see it there, 147.150, channel slot 3, and there's a plus minus indicating that my offset is saved. And if I use the arrows to scroll through the channels, I can see my national 2-meter calling frequency saved in channel slot 2 and my repeater on channel slot number 3. The next radio I'll show you how to program is the Yaesu FT-60. And this appears to be a fairly popular radio among amateur radio operators, and I've had quite a few of them tell me that this was the first quality HT that they purchased, and it was mine as well. And when I was looking to upgrade from my UV-5R, which was the first radio that I purchased, the one that I moved up to was the FT-60. One of the helpful features of the FT-60 is it automatically detects the offset with functionality called the automatic repeater shift, which is menu option number 4 and titled ARS in the menu. If you want to enter a simplex frequency, one of the things that I usually like to do is disable this feature first. However, if you're programming a repeater, you can leave it enabled. To disable ARS, press the FW key and then the set key, and turn this knob until you see ARS on the display. Press the FW key again, and then it will show if the feature is on or off, and you'll use the knob to put it in the off position. Press FW again and PTT to exit to the menu. I'll walk through those steps now. FW, set, scroll to menu option number 4, FW again. You can see that it's on. I'll put it in the off position, FW again, and PTT to return to the memory mode. So as with the previous demo, I did save the weather channel in here, and it's under channel slot number 1, and so I'll enter the national 2-meter calling frequency, and to do that we need to get into VFO mode, so I'll press the V/M button. And I need to enter my frequency, which is 146.520. And now what I want to do is program this frequency into the next available channel slot. So how you do that is you press and hold the FW key, and then in the display it will show the next available channel. And that's 2, and I'll press FW again. You'll see memory in. It takes you back to VFO mode, and when I go back to memory mode by pressing the V/M button, it does show our national 2-meter calling frequency. Now I'll cover the steps for programming a repeater, and the radio is in memory mode, and I need to get back to VFO mode by pressing the V/M key. And this time I want to ensure that the automatic repeater shift is enabled, and I'll use the same steps I showed you to disable it in order to turn it back on. So FW key and set, and turn the knob to menu item number 4, the FW key again, and this time I'll put it in the on position. FW key to save it, and PTT to return to VFO mode. Next I need to set the tone mode by pressing the FW key and then the number 1 key, and then I'll rotate the dial until I get to tone on the display, and then press the FW key again to save it. So FW and 1. Currently it's off, and you can see if I turn the knob it goes to tone, tone squelch, and there's some other options like DCS. For the purposes of this demo I want tone, so I'll press FW again. And now I'll enter my repeater frequency, which is 147.150. Now I want to go back into the menu so I can set some of my other values. And how I do that is by pressing FW again and set. And I want to go to menu item number 50. And that's titled tone frequency, and press the FW key, and I'll use the knob to scroll until I get to 123.0, and then you can see that it's 123.0 on the display. Press the FW button and it takes me back to the menu, and I can press the push to talk to get back into VFO mode. Now I need to save this to a channel slot, which should be channel slot number 3. So I'll long press the FW button. You'll see channel slot 3, and if you press the FW button again, the display reads memory in, and if I go back to memory mode by pressing the V/M button, you'll see that my repeater is saved in channel slot 3, and I can use this knob to scroll through my channels. Next is the Yaesu VX-6, and like the FT-60, this radio also automatically detects offsets, and before I program the simplex frequency, I'll disable the automatic repeater shift, which is also menu number 4 on this radio as well. Like the previous examples, I have the weather channel programmed into channel slot number 1, and I'll be programming the national 2-meter calling frequency into channel slot number 2. So to get into VFO mode, I will press the V/M button. And to disable the ARS, it's the same process. So I'll press the FW key and then the set key. And I'll use the knob to scroll to menu item 4, press set again, and you can see that it's in the on position, and I'll set it to off. Press set again. That takes me back to the menu, and if I press the PTT button, that returns me to VFO mode. So now what I want to do is enter my frequency 146.520. And I'll long press the FW key and then short press the FW key to save it. So long press, and I can set it to channel number 2 and then short press it. And if I go back to memory mode, it has my frequency saved on channel slot 2, and I can use the knob to scroll between the channels. Now I'll cover the steps for programming a repeater. The radio is in memory mode, and to get into VFO mode, press the V/M key. And I'll also want to enable automatic repeater shift, so we'll go back through the same steps that we did to disable it. So press the FW key and set. Scroll to menu item 4, press set again, and turn the knob until it's in the on position, press set again, and press PTT to return to VFO mode. Now I'll enter the repeater frequency 147.150, and then I'll go back into the menu so I can set my other values. So 147.150. And then FW and set to enter the menu, and I want to go to menu item number 60, which is titled Squelch Type. Press set, and I can select tone, tone squelch, DCS, and for this demo I'll select tone and set. And now I need to go to menu item number 66, which is tone frequency. Press set and scroll until I get to 123.0. Press set again, and then press the PTT button to get back to VFO mode. Lastly, I need to save this into channel slot 3, so I will hold down the FW key and then press it again to save it. And I can use the knob to select a channel, and I've selected channel 3 and FW again. And then if I press the V/M key to get back into memory mode, I should see my frequency, which I do. And if I scroll with the knob, I see my weather channel, national 2-meter calling frequency, and my repeater. The final radio is the Yaesu FT-65, and as in the previous demos, I have the weather frequency saved to channel slot 1, and I'll be saving the national 2-meter calling frequency, which is 146.520, to channel slot 2. This radio shares the same automatic repeater shift functionality as the FT-60 and VX-6. The radio is currently in memory mode, and to get to VFO mode, press the V/M key in the lower left-hand corner of the keypad. I'll enter our frequency 146.520. And now I need to get into the menu and select menu item number 24. And how you get there is by pressing the function button. It's the bottom button on the left-hand side of the radio, so if you'll long press that, you'll get into the menu. And now I can use the up and down arrows to scroll through the menu and get to number 24. And once I'm on menu item 24, short press the function button. And now you'll see ARS, mode, and shift, and there's an arrow pointing to ARS, and if I short press that, it begins blinking. The ARS is in the on position, and I'll use the up and down arrows to select the off position. Short press again, and I can move down to mode, short press the function button, and this allows me to choose between simplex, a negative offset, a positive offset, and back to simplex. So the one we want is simplex, so I'll short press that and then press the PTT button to get back to the VFO mode. Now I need to save the frequency into the radio, and I'm going to do that by long pressing the V/M key. And after I do that, it'll actually prompt me to name the frequency. And so once I name the frequency, I can then press the function button. So I'll select a character on the keypad, press the function button, move to the next one, select the next character, press the function button, and so on. And once I'm done naming it, then I can long press the VM key. So we'll begin naming it now. So I'll long press the VM key, and I'll just title this one 123. Press the function button once, and then again, and then now I've named this frequency 123, and if I long press the VM key, it'll tell me memory in, and then if I press VM again and once more, it'll take me back to memory, and I'll see that the 2 meter calling frequency was saved to channel slot number 2. To program the repeater, I'll need to go back into VFO mode by pressing the V/M key, and I'll enter the repeater's frequency 147.150. Now I need to go back into the menu, and I need to select menu item number 8, and I'll long press the function button and use the up arrow to scroll to menu item number 8. I'll short press the function button again, and here I can select my transmit and receive tones. In this example, I don't have a receive tone, only a transmit tone of 123.0, so I'll short press the function button, and I'll use the up arrow to scroll to 123.0, press the function button again, and use the down arrow to set my receive tone. In this case, since there isn't one, I'll set it to the off position and short press the function button again. To get back to the menu, I'll long press the function button, and I need to scroll down to menu item number 24 next. I'll short press the function button, and here I can set the automatic repeater shift. So if I short press function, currently it's set to off, it's blinking, and if I use the up or down arrow, I can put it in the on position, short press, and now what I can do is go to menu item number 29. I'll long press the function button, and 29 is squelch type. I'll short press the function button, and I can use the up or down arrows to set it to off, receive tone, transmit tone, tone squelch, and in this situation I'll set it to T-tone, and once it's on T-tone, which is transmit tone, I'll press the function button to return to the menu. So again, that's a long press. Now I can press the PTT button and get back to VFO mode, and what I want to do is save this into a channel, and to do that I will hold down the VM key, and again it asks me to name the channel, so I'll just title this one for function button 5, function button, and 6. And once I've named my frequency, I can long press the VM key, and it says memory in. And if I go back to the V/M button and get back into memory mode, it shows me that channel slot number 3 has saved my frequency.